Welcome to episode 13, Friday, the 13th
Let's
episode of What Are We Thinking podcast. Welcome aboard to the podcast zone of the What Are We Thinking podcast.
It's the 13th podcast on Friday the 31st. And Josh noted before we started that if you flip those numbers, they can easily become the same number, meaning that this podcast must be ordained by God, because cool little number things like that only happen if it pertains to God. It's like when you're filling up your gas tank and it lands right on exactly $20, like not a cent over, not a cent less. And it's almost like, did God want me to fill up my gas tank right this moment? You know, because you feel like
Right.
surely this must be from Him. So this episode is sure to be more powerful and life-changing than any episode we've had thus far.
Yes, all the moons have aligned. The red moon, the blue moon, the blood moon, the gray moon, and the yellow moon and the orange moon. They've all combined and aligned.
According to Facebook, everything that could possibly happen is currently happening. We're going to have to do a series at some point on the end times at Overflow, because gosh, it's glaringly obvious that people have very, very bad theology and teaching on the end times and what the Bible has to say about it. Not that I've seen anyone from our church, but like I know if the rest of the world is this poorly conditioned to think this way, then probably a lot of people that go to our church are too. And it's not because they're bad people. It's because Kirk Cameron produced Left Behind, and we take that as theology. So
there were other really terrible movies about the end times before Kirk Cameron came along. I haven't
seen any of them.
I remember one. Maybe I'll have to ask my dad. We watched one at a church in the early 90s. It was maybe not even a movie. It was like a little segment to scare kids what it looks like if you're still left on the earth. And it was like a really bad like sci-fi film. It was awesome. So bad. I can't remember the name of it.
People killing people and
it was
becoming
like
cannibals.
Yeah, you have to die for the gospel. Well, I mean, obviously, that's a real thing. I think it's in the Bible. Like, if you were left, but I don't know. Like, it's just super scary and like really weird. And I'm not an expertise on the end times. I don't think it's today, but I don't know. I don't think anybody does know. So
I think every generation has thought it was their generation, including the biblical writers, mind you.
Yeah.
Even John and Peter and Paul and all those guys thought it was them. So
they said it was soon. So
yeah. And soon must be pretty relative there, since it's been a little over 2,000 years and nothing's happened yet.
Soon.
That'll be a conversation for another day. But hey, did you ever go to a judgment house?
Absolutely. Every year.
For anyone who doesn't know what a judgment house is, churches would put it on, and they would have this. The first scene would depict some high schoolers riding in a car, maybe drinking or something. And there would always be like a cheerleader, a football player, a nerd, and like a gothic person or something. And they would somehow all end up in a car, and they would have a crash, and one person would survive the crash, but the other three people, or maybe two people would, but the other people would die. And like one of the kids would go to hell and like burn in the lake of fire, and then another kid would go to heaven, and then another kid would get to see it all happening. I don't even know how that works. And what they would do is, at the end of it, after scaring 7 and 8 year olds to their core, they would then put the pressure on you to repeat this prayer, because if you repeat this prayer after me, then you will not spend eternity in the lake of fire. Which that may be, it's quite possibly the most manipulative way to get someone to raise their hand and say a prayer that I've ever heard. So we're not big on judgment houses around here. Not to say that no good ever came out of it, because obviously there's been lots of horrible teaching over the years and plenty of good has come out of it. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about today.
I think intentions maybe where people were hoping to do something and to bring awareness, but then it got to where it was like, how do we make people make a decision? And you can't do that. You can't make people make a decision.
Scare people into following Jesus. As if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
And there is the revival guys, they were the same way. Like they would
Oh,
tell you
for
the
sure.
stories of people that would make fun of them and go die on the way home.
I'm
Which
like,
I was like,
dude,
man, that's
there
intense.
was only one requirement to be a revival preacher. You had to know somebody who refused to accept the gospel
Uh
at
huh.
church service and then rode home on a motorcycle and died. Like
Yep.
if you know
Hmm.
someone who did that, you can be a revival preacher because that's what every single message is about.
Yeah.
So
It was
I don't
mine.
know.
The one I heard from two different guys was a girl that died in a car crash, and literally they heard her going to hell as she was in the
Huh.
car. It was on fire. Yeah, but
Right.
she could feel the flames of hell.
It
And I was
wasn't
like, maybe it
the
was the
car
flames of the
flames.
car. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
no,
just,
surely not. Surely not. It had to be the flames of hell
but
because
I
that
heard two
happens.
different preachers preach that, and I thought, were they at the same car crash, or were there
Maybe,
actually
maybe
two of these?
they're EMT guys, actually, like you didn't know.
Oh, that's brilliant. Actually, that is brilliant. Uh,
Surprise! This is why we became preachers. Is this moment
oh,
right
that is
here?
brilliant. That's great.
How
Yes,
was
sir.
your week? For anyone who doesn't know, I've been in Ocean Springs, Mississippi all week visiting my in-laws. I've been looking forward to this all summer. It has been so much fun. We leave to head home sometime around lunchtime tomorrow, but so I haven't been once again. I haven't been at the office or doing like normal work hours. I've been kind
Yeah.
of working from the beach this week. But how's your week been, dude?
Man, it's been really good. It's been a little chill this week. Nothing big going on. Nothing crazy coming up ahead. No activities to plan.
Yeah,
I checked my son into kindergarten yesterday.
I saw
Like
that. I saw that.
he was ready. He was excited. And man, it was just mass chaos in there. Just kids everywhere meeting their teachers. But it was really
Epic.
cool. He's ready to go. I'm ready for him to go. He's gonna have a good time. But I've been pretty chill, man. Just doing my everyday
Good.
routine. Reading about some wisdom. I've been in a new plan this week that's been really good. Reading about how we get wisdom and how obedience is wisdom. That was really good. I read that this
Yeah.
morning, so that was cool. But yeah, the boss is out of the office, so it's been pretty. It's been
If
pretty
it's any
chill.
different, when
Yeah, right.
I'm there,
Exactly.
it's like we have this strict schedule that we
It's
don't have
funny,
50 employees.
but it was good. It's been a
So
good week. How about your week? How are you
good.
enjoying
Yeah.
Mississippi?
It's been great, dude. I yesterday Sam and I we went for just a really quick like 20-minute walk on the beach. And no, when I say beach in Mississippi, I don't mean what you think I mean, what anyone else thinks I mean. The Mississippi beach is very dark. It looks more like a big giant lake, like a kind of a gross lake.
Right.
But we did. It's still like pretty and it's fun to go walk on the beach. So we went and walked. They have like this cool little sidewalk that goes all the way down the beach. We went and walked on that for a little bit yesterday, and we were like, man, we need to start coming up here, like picking 2 weeks out of the summer,
Mm-hmm.
and this being what we do. Because for one, we get to see family that we never get to see, but two, it's cheap because we're obviously staying with them. But
Right.
her hometown is so nice. I love staying in Ocean Springs and seeing all of the Moeller family, my wife's side of the family up here. So that's always just a blast. They're just a super fun group of people. My father-in-law is a lot of fun. So I've just enjoyed it, man. We get to go work out at different places and eat places
Mm-hmm.
and that we don't normally eat. And I've probably gained like 7 or 8 pounds just this week because I have no self control because they always have so much food and they're great
Oh
cooks.
yeah, I
And
get it.
so but I mean, hey, dude, it's been an awesome week. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
man, I'm pumped. You ready for some headlines real quick?
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, these are mine today. Josh doesn't know that these are coming up, so all these answers will be totally like this will be the first time he's hearing any of this. Uh, so, one of the headlines was that Buddy, who is the first dog who is diagnosed with COVID-19. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Buddy has officially passed away from COVID-19. What do you think about dogs and COVID-19? Is this a thing? Did Buddy actually have COVID-19? Did he? I mean, did he?
Look,
Maybe.
I don't know. Like, I just Are we keeping up with that now? Like,
That's all we can. We have to do whatever we can to keep COVID-19 in the news. And so even if it means talking about animals that may or may not have it,
do dogs need to wear
we
a
have to
mask?
put it in there. Right. Do our animals need to wear masks now?
Yeah. I don't think so. I want to be like really, I'll be really transparent. No. I've had some thoughts about dogs this week because after I run, I sit on my back porch for like 20 minutes and cool down because I'm sweating so bad. So I just kind of cool down. I'm not allowed to come in the house until I quit dripping. So that's kind of like the rule. So my dog is like always just sitting there beside me and like doing really weird things because dogs do weird things. I mean, dogs are great. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to like offend any animal lovers out there, but like dogs are also severely gross.
They are.
Dogs are loyal.
There's no doubt.
But they like, I had to tell my dog to quit licking itself because like I could hear it.
Yep.
And it was like super nasty. So like sometimes I'm gonna admit to something kind of weird. After my run, I have to pee really bad sometimes. And so sometimes I will just like pee out behind the shop.
Oh, yeah, that's not weird.
Well, then my dog goes over there and licks it up. Like,
oh, that is weird, dude.
It's so gross. And I tell like, stop licking the pee, man. That is so nasty. So I don't understand that. Dogs are just like, they're just weird and gross at times too. They're super loyal and they love everybody. But man, they do really nasty things. So
they do. My whole week right now has been centered around because we brought Margot with us.
Oh yeah, you got Margot.
And my wife's parents have a little dog that is very similar. Whoa! Hey, for anyone who's listening, my phone just fell off where it was. But my wife's parents have a little dog that's very similar to Margot. Mm-hmm. And so, but she's 6 years old. So she's like super mature and she just chills. She doesn't annoy anybody. But Margot is the exact opposite. She's pressing her buttons, constantly sniffing her butt. And they're just back at it, like at each other's grills 24/7 this whole time. So it's been funny. But hey, Margot did get a little trim around her face. And so now she looks like a different dog and she is very cute, but I do love my dog. So dogs are gross. I would agree. Headline number 2, I guess this is, I feel like I could not talk about this one, but you don't have to stay on it long because it's such a tired subject, but it's here. Schools are reopening, COVID-19. Your son is going to kindergarten.
Yes.
What would you prefer?
You cut out really quick.
Oh, my bad. I just said with schools reopening and that time of the year coming around, what do you prefer? Do you just want to just go for it as if, just like back to normal, or do we need to be testing students once a week and making them take their temperature and stuff like that? What are your initial thoughts on that?
Well, all the kids have to wear a mask, which I think
all day.
Well, I don't know if it's all day. I know I've heard that. I know they have to wear it in the building and to their seat. I don't know if they have to wear it while they're in their seat or not, but if they were spread out far enough, I know that maybe they don't have to. But so wearing your mask, keeping kids, and I know that's hard, especially for little kids. I don't know. I guess we try it and see what happens, but somebody's going to get it. They've already shut my son's daycare down for 2 weeks. I know it's going to happen. So, I don't know what else you can do. I know they've already prepared, though. Like they said, if you need a tablet, they'll give you one for online learning. So they're already prepping for something like that to happen. Wow. So I don't think it'll be long. I think they'll go. And if there's a big spike, if something does happen, there's been a big spike in Carroll County in the past 2 days. I think 12 or 13 more people have gotten it in the past 2 days. Now, if there's a big spike, they'll probably just cancel school and you'll just learn from home. That's what I would guess would happen. But
I just can't even imagine. Shout out to all of our seniors, also all of our parents.
Yeah, teachers
that are going to be doing stuff like that. That just sounds really awful.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I hope that doesn't ever happen to me as a parent. And all of our teachers, of course. And I just can't can't fathom that. So
it's tough.
I don't know, but okay. Number third. I don't. What is that?
Number third, man. I love it.
Number 3. This was my favorite. Whatever we call this, the what is it called? Headlines. I almost said
Yes.
highlights. Well, it's not a highlight. My favorite headline is the fact that the NBA resumed action
Yes.
last night, and I was just, my gosh, I just enjoyed it so much. Seeing it, I got to see Zion Williamson, got to see LeBron,
Uh-huh.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Man, are you pumped? I know you're not really. I mean, are you an NBA fan? Like,
I
not
am. I
really?
do enjoy. There's certain players I enjoy watching, but yeah, I'm glad it's back. I'm glad sports is back in general.
Me too.
Just
I thought.
it's been nice to
bad.
see it. It's just nice to see it like on the screen when I open up YouTube
Yes.
TV, and it's like
Yes.
there's like games that are actually on. I'm like, oh man,
Yes.
and it's not South
I
Korean
feel-
baseball.
Right. I feel the same way when I open up your YouTube TV account on my phone, and I see those games. It's just been I feel like they did a great job with putting like crowd noise
Yes,
in there.
heard that.
They've got people that are live streaming in to where you can see them on the sidelines. Sort of. It's not like normal, obviously, but dude, I mean, they're doing. I was impressed with how they're doing it, and
Yeah,
right
that's
now
cool.
it's just the first 10 games of the season, and we start playoffs, but. Boy, I'm just excited. I know that not everyone's gonna agree with this, and it's totally cool. But I love how intentional they were, how intentional the whole league is being with just the racial injustice issues and stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
Black Lives Matters is across the floor, and while we don't support, of course, necessarily the organization itself, I think we can all stand behind the movement that Black people's lives do matter.
That's right.
And so that was very cool. All of Nike's stuff they're putting out, the players have
Mhm.
different names on their jerseys,
Yeah. That's
just
cool.
different phrases. And it's definitely a marking moment in history that I'm here for, man. I'm excited
that's
to be
cool.
able to look back
I am
on this.
too. I think that's
Even
great.
if some of this is politically driven, obviously it's not crazy to know that some of this is
Mhm.
politically driven. That's obvious, but like, even if it is, I'm okay with that for this specific issue, especially,
Yes,
like
me too.
let's let it be politically driven. Heck yeah, let's stand for equal rights and stuff like that. Which, so yeah, we won't get into it much, but I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was good.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. So, all right, with that, are you ready for this Stop It segment?
Stop it. So fun, man.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so today's Stop It segment is brought to you via my mother-in-law. Actually, sometimes I run out of. I've just been, after the last two or 3 weeks of these sermons, of being grateful and thinking about like actually figuring out what's going on in my head.
Yeah.
I haven't been as annoyed at as many
Right.
things
Same.
because I'm not focusing on
Same.
things that
Yeah.
I'm annoyed at. So I actually struggled thinking of something that was irritating me right now. So I just kind of went to her, and this is not to say that she is like, I don't know, needs to change or anything, but I just kind of like went to her and surprised her with a question today. And I said, hey, if there's anything that you wish people would stop doing, just in general, it doesn't have to do with what is happening right now or whatever in our country. I said, if there's anything that you wish people would stop doing, what is it? And without blinking, she said, I wish people would stop being so mean to elderly people. And I was like, dude, that is so true.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
how many times are we so intolerant of older people? I am just
Yeah.
as
Impatient.
I'm impatient. I'm in that category as much as anybody
Mhm.
is. When I have someone in front of me that is an elderly person that's driving 35 miles an hour in a 55 and I can't pass them, how many times have I been impatient to that person? Like,
Yeah.
I am the culprit here. And she said it, and I was convicted. And I was like,
That's good.
not only do other people need to hear this, but I need to hear this. Alex, stop being so impatient. And maybe if it's not like outwardly mean, it's inwardly mean to elderly people. I don't know. So
you get annoyed by people that slow you down. I do.
I know.
I do. I'm like, get out of my way. Like, go to Lakeside. Get out of my way. Like, get away.
Wow. But even like, like at if you're like at Walmart shopping or at another place shopping, or I don't know, if someone doesn't know how to do something with like technology or they don't hear you, man, how many times do I just so quickly lose my patience? And it's like, Alex, You are such a punk. Like, chill out. You're going to be old one day too.
Oh,
And
I
how do you
know,
want people to
man.
treat you? And I'm sure I'm going to be just as irritating on many levels. So I would encourage all of us today, let's stop being so mean to old people. That's how she put it too. I wish people would just stop being so mean to old people. And so maybe we should, I would say not even maybe, we should stop being so mean to old people. They
Yep.
deserve better than that. They've done a lot for us, and
Yeah.
most of us, I mean, we wouldn't be
Blaze
here
the
without
trail.
someone who's old.
Mhm.
So
That's good.
so on
That's a good word.
behalf of all young people, I apologize. I'm sorry if I've ever been rude. I'm sorry if I've never even shown it. But in here, I'm gonna work on that, and I'm not gonna be so irritated. I'm just gonna roll with the flow. I'm gonna love y'all.
That's right.
So, thank you, Boomer generation. We appreciate you.
So today on the What Are We Thinking podcast, we actually have Bethel's head football coach, Michael Jasper, on with us today. We are so pumped to have him.
Hey, dude, keep pumping him up. Come on. Bethel's head football coach, Michael Jasper. But not only is he the head coach at Bethel,
he's also former NFL player, Mount Juliet High School,
yes, sir.
repping the Middle Tennessee area.
Golden Bears.
Let's go.
Love it. And he's had several coaching positions. He was position coach in high school, moved up to the college ranks. Now he is the head coach of the Bethel Wildcats.
Phenomenal.
Which is, there's only 2 college teams in our local area that I even keep up with. And I don't really keep up with UTM that much, but like Bethel is obviously our school because it's in our town. Right. So, man, just super grateful you took time to come out and be with us today and talk.
I'm so blessed to be here with you guys.
Yes, and we can't wait to dive into just some personal things. First, just want to ask, man, just how's it been lately?
Awesome, man. I'm a person. I don't like to complain too much.
That's good. Be grateful.
Yeah, you
that's
gotta
good.
We could be far worse, So God's continued to bless us, and we're trying to pivot and learn and navigate through COVID and what's going on in the world.
Much.
It's been hectic, but it's been fun.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
Definitely
dude.
not bored.
Yeah. Oh no. No one's too bored. There's all kinds of stuff going
not
on
anymore.
right now.
No. About 4 months ago, I feel like I was bored to death. But I'm not bored anymore.
Oh man, not anymore at all. So Michael, just my first question, man, just carry me through growing up Mount Juliet. How was that? And just kind of when did you start playing football?
Man, I started playing football at the age of 4.
Wow.
As you can see, I'm a large individual. Nothing changed when I was a child. So actually, it was funny. I grew up originally in Nashville. My mother's a single mom. She's my hero. She's awesome. But we were at the grocery store. And I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, the Police Athletic League.
Oh, wow.
Remember PAL? They phenomenal football program and stuff like that. But one of their guys actually contacted me or came up to my mom and asked, hey, how old is he? We have a boxing program we'd like to get him involved with. If he's 10 years old, he can start. And she's like, he's 4.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
Wow, dude.
Yeah,
you had the size for sure.
I definitely had the size. So I started playing in the small community of Old Hickory, which is really close to Mount Juliet. A lot of pride in that area. Some good football players came out here, like Benny Cunningham, that played for the Rams for a while, running back out of Middle Tennessee. So we had some talent go through there. Grew up, and then finally my mother wanted a better opportunity for me to grow up in a little bit better community than where I was, being bused to downtown Nashville. So we took a leap of faith and moved to Mount Juliet back home where my grandmother was from, and I grew up in that community. Blessed, love where I come from, a little different, trying to learn how to navigate coming from the inner city to moving to the suburbs. So it was a little different, but I love my community, love Mount Juliet to death.
It's a great community.
Back this weekend. Had played a golf tournament with a bunch of
that's
buddies of
cool,
mine. So,
man.
I love where I'm from. I love it and a lot of pride in it. But, yeah, it was great childhood, man.
So growing up in high school, of course, you played junior high, high school ball, all that stuff. How much attention did you have, from colleges and stuff when you were in high school? What did that look like for you?
It was different. It was very, very different for me because we went through a lot of transition. I know you're probably familiar with Wilson Central High School. Mm-hmm. When I left Mount Juliet Middle and junior high and went to high school, we started a new school there. So it kind of split our team up.
Oh, okay.
So we were a team with
Oh.
19 players playing the top division of football.
Oh, wow.
So we got whooped a lot.
Wow.
To say the least.
Bro, I was on a team as a 19 player playing in the least important division of high school football. So I absolutely don't understand where you're coming from at all. Because we had 19 players, and that was totally normal. And our
That
team
was
was
totally normal
horrible,
here.
and we
Oh,
never
really?
won.
Yeah, single A
Yeah.
ball, bro. It was
It
normal.
is, yeah, that is the norm. I actually coached a team like that.
South Fulton, Tennessee.
Oh no, those guys play some ball now. For my UT
South
Martin
Fulton?
days, I thought South Fulton had some cats.
Well, what were your UT Martin days?
2005 and 06.
I have no idea who was good at that point. There's no way. We in 2005 and 2006. I'm pretty sure. I don't even know if they were any good at all. But I could be wrong.
Maybe it was the community.
I guess I don't know. Fulton had some ball players back
You know
then.
what?
But
It was
South Fulton.
It was Fulton.
Yeah. South Fulton did not. Fulton had some guys that were, I mean, phenomenal ball players back then. But we went like 0-10, like 3 years in a row. So
we very similar.
we
very similar
we were
to my
horrible.
experiences. Yeah, we had
Yes.
one and
Yeah.
9. We beat the new school who just started
Right.
football. Yeah.
Oh,
awesome.
man. That's
But
so-
yeah, the recruiting process was different because, like I said, I had a single mom. I didn't have a dad to kind of show me
right.
the ropes, and I just kind of was out here just playing ball because I love to play ball.
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually one of my best friends. He started getting recruited quite a bit. It was our quarterback. He actually got drafted to the Bills as well the year before I did. So
Jeez.
he actually took me around like with him. I'm like, well, people started coming around and like, hey, this guy's big, he's fast, he can move. But I'm just like, hey, I'm just out here, big kid playing ball. I just love to play the game. And he took me to a camp. He took me to Ole Miss camp, and I met Coach Cutcliffe and John Latina. And I'll never forget, after the first day of camp, John Latina just pulled me aside and goes, son, you're going to play college football. And sent me off with Marcus Green, who's I think Marcus is now the old offensive line coach at Duke. So I rode around with not Marcus Green. I can't remember his last name. But anyways, I rode around with Marcus and literally was not at the camp the rest of the camp. And I got best showing at camp. I was like, okay, they must really like me. I was here for
Wow.
a day of a 4-day camp, and I got best lineman at camp. And that's kind of how it took off. Once one team kind of saw me and took interest, then other teams started to take interest. But the recruiting process is totally different now than what it was back then. Back then, you send in 3 tapes. You send in your best game, your worst game, and then just an arbitrary game. It's just a game they just want to see. So you see 3 games, your best, your worst, and kind of just you did okay. Mm-hmm. And coaches would watch that whole film. Now it's with the technology these kids have, they shoot me a highlight tape, and in a couple minutes I'm watching it, and I know within 2 to 3 minutes of watching it, hey, these are her best plays. This guy can do it or he can't. So there's a lot different avenues now than it was back then.
So what was what was the transition? Of course, did you go to UTM first?
I sure did.
Okay, and then you went to Bethel after that?
I went to Middle Tennessee State.
Okay, MTSU after that. Okay, so just tell me what that was like. Just going, that's 3 different schools.
Yeah.
That's a journey.
That was a major part of my testimony. Was that transition, very humbling experience. The Lord took me through some things and kind of brought me back down to earth. I went to the Ole Miss story. I ended up committing to Ole Miss, and Coach Cutcliffe lost his job. Went to Duke. Mm-hmm. I didn't handle my responsibilities academically to be able to go to a Duke. So I was kind of out there, left to hang. And Coach Jernigan and Coach Griffin at UT Martin, they reached out to me and gave me an opportunity. And I went and took it and jumped on it. And I always kind of thought, like, hey, I want to play FBS. I want to be the guy and play at a bigger school. So in my mind, I was going to use Martin as like a JUCO. Mm-hmm. Well, soon as I fell in love with the place, Coach Griffin, Coach Jernigan ended up going to Murray State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So wasn't a great situation for me. I didn't feel that at that time, and I ended up playing for Coach Simpson, who I love dearly now. Yeah. And I wish I wish I could go back. But when I was a young dumb kid and I wasn't making the right choices and making great decisions, I made the choice after my sophomore year. We won the OVC championship, and I transferred to Middle Tennessee State. Long story short, didn't handle business there academically or off the field. Was kind of making some horrible choices, and I remember my mom just kind of being just had this like disappointed look on her face. We were having a conversation, and she's like, son, I don't care if you ever play football again. She's like, just please get a degree. Please get your life back on track.
Mm-hmm.
And
all right, let's crank it back up. So we're gonna go back to Coach Hollowell.
Let's go.
You have the conversation with your mom.
Yeah, so I had the conversation with my mom. She's wanted me to get my life back on track. And Alan Hollowell somehow, some way got my contact information, and he would blow me up. And guys, I mean, at this point in my life, I'm not ashamed to talk about it. I am ashamed of how I was living, but there were times where I'd be inebriated, I'd be high, I'd be out at the club, I'd be chasing skirt tails, as he would call it, and he'd always
chasing skirt tails.
Consistent, yeah. I would say something, and I was trying to blow this guy. I'm like, Bethel, like, come on, really? I'm a Division I football player. Like, why are you calling me? So I would answer him at my worst, to try to deter him from contact. Like, man, I'm gonna, exhale right into this phone right now, and tell him exactly what I'm doing, and then he's not gonna want me anymore. And he was consistent, and he stayed on me, and he continued to kind of without me knowing it, and he was pouring into me a little bit and kind of guiding me, and I ended up coming to Bethel. And I think it's funny because the first class I was in was a New Testament class, and we talked about what Bethel meant, and it stands for House of God. And to go back a little bit, I am a preacher's kid. I was raised right. But you know how that is. PKs, we tend to stray quite a bit.
No doubt.
So that's all my mother wanted for me, and what a place to come back to McKenzie, Tennessee, to Bethel University, and to kind of have a rebirth at Bethel. And that's how I ended up here. And I'm forever grateful to Bethel University. It's home. The people in this community, it's very different. As an African American, when you pull into McKenzie, Tennessee, this is the type of town where you kind of like, all right, we're just gonna keep going. I'm not stopping for gas here.
Right.
I get that.
Right.
When you get here and you see the community that we have, it's so diverse because of Bethel.
Yeah.
It's brought many different people to this area, man. I've always loved McKenzie, Tennessee.
That's really cool, and that's really cool that we even brought up Alan Hollowell, just because.
So cool.
We're going to his wedding pretty soon. That's pretty neat. And I loved Alan too. I've actually known Alan since Alan dated my wife's sister.
Oh yeah.
For a bit, and that's where I first met him. And of course, he makes fun of me from back then. He's like, I had the little pot belly and the little whatever he likes to call. Fat Josh. He makes fun of me all the time for that. But that's really cool. So you actually you get to college here, and you actually got drafted from here, right?
Yes, sir.
So you got drafted to the Bills. What was that transition like?
That's epic,
man. I was blessed, dude. You're talking about extremely blessed to go through that, and then to be where I thought I would have the only chance to make it to the National Football League, and to kind of hit my rock bottom and say, I just want to live right. And then to have that happen, I'll never forget it. It was just the craziest time of life, because when I got to Bethel, I had to sit out a year for academics.
Right.
And then I finally got eligible, and I play and I tear my knee. In order to get my eligibility back, I sit out a semester and I work back home in Nashville, and I come back and just really trying to maintain. And it's funny because my mom always said, it's kind of like the song says, like, as soon as I stop worrying how my story ends, that's when I let go and I let God. Things started happening.
Right.
And that's why I tell my kids all the time is, when you stop worrying about you, when you start worrying about the team, and you're in an atmosphere kind of like that's at Bethel, where people are just playing the game because they love it. Yeah. People are because you care about the people around you, and people care about you. Great things can happen. Yeah. And honestly, people are like, "Oh, did you know you were gonna?" No, I didn't know I was going to the NFL. I thought, man, I was just gonna try to get my degree, get it paid for, play a game, and things started to happen because we weren't on a phenomenal team. I think we were a 500 team when I was here. But God saw fit for me to start to garner attention, and then I ended up having a great agent, Martin Fishman, and he devised a plan where he's like, hey, you're a freak of nature in the weight room. He's like, let's start posting these videos. So when I was training for my pro day, I seriously thought I was going to play in Canada. Because I had, as soon as the season ended, I did a workout for the CFL, and actually my mentor now, Coach Jones, he's with the Cleveland Browns. He kind of started taking a liking to me. He's like, hey, we're going to get you to come play at Calgary. And
Cool.
I guess he ran into Buddy Nix at the draft, or at the combine, and said, hey, there's this kid in Tennessee that I'm about to sign. You guys look out for him in a couple years. And he's like, who is it? He's like, Mike Jasper. And apparently Buddy had talked to Matt Hand, which was the area scout. And he's like, oh, we know that kid. We know that guy. And so he sent Matt Hand to do a private workout in Jackson at what was then called Solus.
Yeah.
And did that workout, and no clue I was getting drafted till they called me.
Wow.
And it was probably one of the, besides being saved, and I'm sure my daughter will be here in October, that'll probably be the best moment. But that phone call, like, that's the only time I've ever about passed out. Like, literally about fell out.
That's
That's
cool, man.
amazing.
That's so cool.
It was a great experience for sure.
Wow, man. And of course, you had a cool journey in the NFL. You played for several teams, the Titans, the Panthers, the Bills, and there's one more team.
New York Giants.
Yeah, the
What's
Giants.
the best O-line you ever played with?
You say that again?
Or you ever played with? Who's the best O-line you ever played with? Which team?
That's hard. I would probably have to say Buffalo, because we were a young, scrappy O-line. I didn't last there very long because, politics, and they were just trying to get the right fit because it was going through a transition. But I ended up playing with some guys that were ended up being really big. Andy Levitre had a heck of a career for the Falcons. Played with Eric Wood, who is a good friend of mine. But I think I'm a little more biased as far as talent-wise. Obviously, when I played for the Giants, they were just coming off the Super Bowl. So you had some, future Hall of Famers on that team.
Yeah.
But as far as the camaraderie, like the best line I played with was definitely Buffalo.
Awesome, man.
That's
so
cool, man.
Yeah.
And what a journey you've had, like just coming from that to then you go back and you start coaching. You coach in Buffalo at a high school.
Yes, sir.
There. So what was that like? You coming out of the NFL? Did you just decide, hey, I'm gonna go into coaching?
No, nothing's ever really been easy.
Right.
It's crazy. God's led me through some different little paths, but I was, after getting hurt, I signed an extension with Carolina. I got hurt, so I was like, oh Lord, what are we gonna do now? And a buddy of mine calls me. He owned a facility maintenance company, so I was pretty much just a nice way of calling me a high-paid janitor. So I ran the facility maintenance, custodial, and grounds crews for school systems. And I started off at Fisk University. We did really well. It was a bad account, and I ended up saving the account. And they said, okay, you have a way with people. So then they kind of turned me into this kind of like the saver, the closer. So they started shipping me around to these horrible accounts, and I was trying to save them for this company. Well, they sent me down to New Orleans, which is like if you don't understand like the school system in New Orleans, ever since Katrina hit, it's kind of just it's like all over the place. Like it's all charter school systems. So the charter schools came in and kind of took over everything.
Right.
So the Orleans Parish School Board, in and of itself, which is the original, the governing body of the school systems there, only had like 5 schools. And very impoverished schools, Mac 35, Mac Main High School, place like that, Miller McCoy Academy. And these schools had these, like the first 6 weeks, 7 weeks I was there were like 8 shootings and 4 fatalities during school hours.
Wow.
3 of them were around at one of my elementary schools called Mahalia Jackson. And I just like, beautiful school, beautiful kids, but there was just so much destruction all around them. And there still was the remnants of Katrina. So the only way I knew I could speak to these kids was like through ball. So I lived in a place called Ponchatoula across Lake Pontchartrain, probably about an hour and 15-minute commute. And my wife was missing me a lot because I had that long commute, but I was staying after hours and working with kids with football. And finally she said, look, Mike, if you're going to do this, let's make it your career. Like, I'd like to see you sometime. If I'm going to miss all this time, let's make sure you're doing something you love. So we made the trek back to Mount Juliet. I was in Mount Juliet for the spring. Loved it. Loved being back home. But had an opportunity at a school called Alfred State. Alfred State was a junior college that had just turned Division III. The money wasn't there. Anybody who thinks you make a lot of money coaching, especially small ball, is not the case whatsoever.
Right.
No way.
It was like $6,000. I think I moved my wife to a place, Alfred, New York, which is Amish country, for $6,000, and I was ecstatic. And then the money fell through, so I couldn't live there. I couldn't afford to be there. But obviously, my wife is from Buffalo, so we shot to Buffalo, New York. I'm chilling. I'm just, I'm looking at what did I do there? I did demolition work. I was a purchaser for a biofuel company. We bought fryer grease and then turned it into reusable fuel.
Wow.
So I had some different
journey. That's
odd
so cool.
jobs,
I
right?
know,
Just
that's
these
cool, though.
Odd jobs trying to make ends meet.
You sound like Josh Crawford. Dude,
Odd
this
jobs.
guy, the guy you're sitting next to, has had some of the most odd jobs I've ever heard.
Journeyman.
jobs.
He's a journeyman. That's what
good.
it is.
Yeah.
But a good friend of my wife's best friend's husband was a coach at a school called Bishop Timon High School, and it's probably one of my favorites. The best. There was no better place for me to start truly coaching than Bishop Timon. It's in South Buffalo. A ton of hard-nosed Irish Catholic kids and some other black kids from the hood, but they welcome me with open arms. I don't know if you know anything about Irish Catholic people. Like,
I know nothing about them.
they are not, I won't call them racist because they hate everybody equally. Everybody equally. It doesn't matter. If you're not Irish Catholic, you're not welcome.
Wow.
And they took me in, man, and those Irish Catholic guys were a hoot, man, and to coach those kids was awesome. There was 19 kids on that team, Alex. Kind of like South Fulton days. All right, but we played. We played in the Catholic League against the top talent in the state. We went 9-2. We ended up losing to. I don't know if any of you guys know Steve Tasker.
Yeah, I do.
Great Steve Tasker. His son tore us out the frame.
Did Tasker play for Buffalo?
Yeah, Tasker was a Buffalo guy. His son Luke plays for Hamilton right now.
Yeah.
And they played a team called St. Francis. They looked like the San Francisco 49ers when they walked out of the tunnel at the Ralph, where the Bills play. And they ripped us a new one. But I was so proud of that team and those kids, man. But that was the journey into coaching. And then Coach Elliott contacted me with an opportunity to come and be a graduate assistant. And by the time I got down here, Alex Hollowell had finessed it and worked it into a full-time offensive line position, and I got to work for Allen.
Wow. That's so cool, man.
Yeah, I owe that guy a lot.
Allen's a good dude.
Yeah.
And, man, he is God's really used him lately in a way I've never seen.
Yeah, awesome.
The change in his life has been so cool, and I just love Allen, man. Love his heart.
Absolutely.
He always had the heart. He always had a rope around the edges at times, but man, he's always had the heart.
That's putting it very nice.
And
it is.
And his fiance Erica, she's phenomenal as well.
Yes, she is.
So
she's been great for him.
We're just happy. We're happy for him, both,
I'm
man.
praying
That's
I get
so
to go
cool
down.
that you keep. Let's go, Allen. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be part of someone else's story too. You know, just like that. That's so awesome. So you get here, Dearman's here. Dearman's here for 1 year. He's gone. Like, explain that. Like, did they come to you with that pretty fast and say, hey, like, we want you to take this?
Quick. When Elliott left, I actually interviewed for the head job to be at Bethel because obviously I didn't have the experience, but it's my alma mater and I love being here. I just got back. I didn't want to leave.
Right,
no
doubt.
You don't know what's going to happen when you bring in a new staff. And I guess evidently I did well enough that they kind of had recommended to Brent that they keep me on. But little did they know, I had met Brent and we had been talking. And initially I know Brent was in a position where he wasn't quite sure he wanted to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go full steam ahead for this thing. But as soon, the moment I heard that Brent had said, hey, I do want to come back, I pulled my name out of the hat, made it very easy for Coach Chappell and Mr. Kelly. I said, hey, if I'm the third choice and it's between this guy and another guy, I'm throwing all my eggs into the Brent Dearman basket. And it panned out.
Yeah.
It worked out great.
Brent was a great coach.
Oh, he's
I
phenomenal.
really like Brent
And not just a coach, man. You met Brent.
Oh yeah, great person.
He missed his calling.
100%. Yes,
I tell him he's a pastor.
he is. I agree with that.
He's a pastor.
As great and as smart as he is with the offense and with everything he does with football, he definitely could be a pastor.
Absolutely.
100%.
He can lead a
believe
flock,
that.
man.
Maybe
So
that's
cool.
maybe that's his job after football.
I think so.
Yeah, I do believe that. He is definitely a genuine guy, you know, and I knew that from the very beginning. And so after Brent leaves, Brad, they coming to you and pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Actually, Brent came to me.
Okay.
Brent called the staff together. He goes, guys, Brent he gets in the Brent voice. Guys, he's all discerned and all strong with it. And I'm just like, oh no, what happened? Because when he gets his voice, like he's serious now, but he's also a very fun-loving guy. When he turned the voice on, I'm like, oh God, I just sank into my seat. I'm like, something bad happened. And he goes, a wonderful opportunity came up. I'm going to be going to Kansas. And everybody's like, wow. For a minute, he goes, and Mike, you're going to be the interim head coach. And that's how I found out. Just that quick. No
Wow.
no pre-meeting in front of everybody. He passed the reins, and then he pulled me into his office, and he gave me some great advice, and we talked, and we fellowshipped a little bit, and he gave me some books to start reading and some ways to go. But the most important thing he told me is be me. We shared a very similar vision for the program, different lifestyles, different backgrounds and ways of achieving it.
Right.
But our vision was aligned pretty well. And I did what he said. I just took it from that point on and ran it like it was my team. And then eventually they came to the conclusion that I was going to be the guy to lead the program.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. And I love Brad too. I think Brad's a great dude, and he's obviously is Brett, and I think Brad, is he like the co-athletic director?
Associate athletic director.
Okay, associate. Okay, yeah. So Brad's always been great, and I think Brad and them. I think they made a great call, man. I think you're the guy for the job.
Man,
like this is your
that.
alma mater. This is you're here, and you already know the culture. You already know the players. So tell me this. Like, we'll get one more question really quick. What has it been like to lead through? Because obviously you're having to be distant. You've had to be distant from your team. That's hard. They weren't in school even in the last part of the semester. I know Big Mike. Do you know Big Mike?
Mike Robinson.
Offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Mike McClain.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Big Mike.
That's big.
Yeah.
All right. So Mike he comes to the gym sometimes in the morning after CrossFit.
Yeah.
He comes and works out again. He's crazy. I love him to death, though. I do love him. He's great. But and some of those guys may still be around, but you've been away from your players. Like, how hard is it to lead, to have a lot of uncertainty, to have some tension also, with all the tension that we've had in this country? What has that been like for you, just as a coach, as a leader of a group of men, and some that are not all the way men yet, obviously. I wasn't anywhere close to being a man when I was in college, but how is that? How is leading those guys through all of this? I mean, you probably have to have a lot of different conversations, ranging from schedule, school, COVID, the racial tension that we've had, that we've all had to work with and learn and maneuver with. So just tell me what that's like as a coach.
It's been a challenge, but I embrace it. I love it. This is why I do it. Is to be winning football games is fun. It's great, but developing young men and teaching them how to attack adversity and
That's
to be
good.
able to pivot and navigate life. What a better time to learn that than right now through this, something that we've never experienced before. We've experienced the racial turmoil. It's been here.
Yeah,
and,
it has.
And our grandparents went through it. But to do it through a pandemic where you can't be around your people, right? It's been different. But I'm blessed to have a phenomenal staff of guys who are all like-minded and they love the Lord, and we're on the same page. And the fact that we're so unified, which is something Brent instilled in us when he was here, was the importance of being unified, and so be able to take on things head on together and with the same voice, through different mouths has been pivotal right now.
That's good.
Because I can trust those guys. We've been doing everything through Zoom. Everything is Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that those guys are saying the same thing that I would say in person. So it's been a challenge, but it's also been a great learning experience, and I've enjoyed it.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. And that's, I think, for all of us, leading in these times has been some of the hardest things we've had to do because we have our own emotions. We have our own feelings, our own, weird places that we get, because everybody's just in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing normal anymore. Not that it has to be, but I'm also appreciative of the fact that I've grown more this year than I ever have. I mean, I have.
Yeah.
I've grown more personally. I've been challenged. I've been, because there's been a lot of things that I've never really told people how I feel about, but I've had to say that now.
Yeah.
Like there's been those things that we don't want to have, the conversations we don't want to have with people that are like us. I've had to have those conversations.
Absolutely.
And those have been way more tense. The phone calls that I've had to have, and the conversations I've had with people that don't agree with me, and they don't feel the way I feel. So I'm thankful for that. So what's the season look like? You guys going to start? You feel like you are?
Yeah.
You feel like you're going to complete it?
It's funny. I was telling you guys while we had a brief break that reason why I was late getting here is I just got the email that the NAI has pushed the fall championships were pushed earlier this week for the other sports, but today, just before I got here, I got the email they moved football as well to the spring. Still no word on the season, but we're full steam ahead. Our guys got back today. We're moving in today as we speak, and we're going to start off. We're going to quarantine for 48 hours. But we're going to go ahead and, since our meeting times are through Zoom, we're going to start our Manhood series, which is a devotion that we do through the season, led by Morgan Cruz, who's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great human being.
Yeah, I like him.
He's outstanding.
Yeah.
So we'll get that started. But as far as the season, literally there's no word as of yet. If things go as scheduled, we'll crank up September 12th. If not, we'll crank up when they tell us. Like I told my guys, man, Bethel Wildcats will be ready to play if it's on Mars in the middle of December. We'll be ready
Let's
to
go.
play. You know what I mean?
That's good. That's right. That's good. That's awesome. Pastor, you got anything for Coach Jasper?
Man, I don't know. I just loved hearing your story
Yeah,
so much.
so good.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
I've never met you in person, which I'm so jealous that I'm not able to be there today and stuff. But man, I know I've met some players on your team, and they're all top notch.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that much. I know one of your quarterbacks, Blake, comes to church. My gosh, did I just say his name? Did I say the right name? Just then?
Blake.
Okay.
Blake
Yeah,
Metters.
yeah.
He's from
okay.
my hometown.
His Instagram name is like Elliot something else. I was like, wait, is his name Blake Elliot? And it's both. But yeah, Blake Metters. So he comes here, and then there's a couple other guys that come here as well, and they're all, man, they're just top. They're just solid dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's a reflection on you, then it's just been so cool hearing your story and stuff. I don't know, man. It just blows my mind that someone from Bethel even gets drafted to go to the NFL. To be honest with you, even that part of the story is like, that's, of all the things, that's probably the craziest part to me.
Wow.
I don't know. It's a testament that it's like, if you got it, people are gonna find you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you got it, you can.
Yeah,
you
good.
can make it.
Yeah.
Like if you've got the goods. So.
And I mean, as a man of faith, it's a God thing too now. It's a God thing. I'll tell you something that's crazy. Is when I was with the Giants, at one point in time, we had 3 people who had McKenzie ties on the team. It was
Shut up.
Myself, I was playing for him. Derek Carr.
I remember when he played for them.
Derek Carr was there for rookie minicamp, and so was Will Masood, who was my quarterback my senior year, who finished up here at Bethel.
Wow.
So I mean,
Derek,
you can't write it.
Is he the quarterback at McKenzie?
Yes.
Yeah. He was the
He
McKenzie
did
quarterback.
rookie
Lit it up
minicamp
at
here.
Martin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He played. It was I believe his senior year was my freshman year, and we played against McKenzie, and they beat us like 58-0. But It was the scariest moment of my high school football career. For some reason, I was playing tight end. I don't know why. I was tiny, but I played for South Fulton. I guess that's why I played tight end. But I had to run a hot route, just a straight, quick pass. And my quarterback just set me up to get destroyed. Lofted that ball straight up the middle. And whoever their strong safety or free safety was saw it coming. And my quarterback made me jump for it. And when I did, the dude hit me right at my knees, and he flipped me over his back. And I did a full 360 in the air. And they were already beating us like 40-0. It was a terrible moment for me.
I'm sorry to bring that back up.
Oh, man.
No, I don't have any good memories of playing Mackenzie in football. Zero. They were always just stomped us. So it is what it is.
Well, man, Coach, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for
Thank you for being
guys.
a part of this. Thank you for sharing your story. Your story is great.
Thank you.
You should share that more often, for sure.
It was enough that I was like, I don't have any questions. What a story. I'm just kind of blown away.
It was good. That's such a great story, man. What a testament to who you are and what God's done in your life. And I think God plans are always have a lot of turns and twists, and you never know where you're going to end up. But that's really cool, man. I'm really excited you're a part of our community, and
thank you.
I love following you. Yes, honor to have you, and love having you. I love following you on social media. I love reading everything you post. It's always different, man. I love to look at different things, not the same conspiracy theories every 10 seconds. So
Absolutely.
I can always appreciate that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, dude. And wish you nothing but the best. Hope this season gets started when it's supposed to in the fall, just like football should be played. But whatever happens, and we'll be rooting you on, man.
Man, I can't wait. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you guys.
Yes, thank you so much, dude. We are over and out for the What Are We Thinking podcast. Tell them goodbye, Pastor Alex from Mississippi.
We love you guys so much. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, comment if you like this. If you don't like it, I guess you probably won't do any of that anyways. But if you do, let some people know. It helps us get this thing out there. So thank you guys for tuning in. And we love you. And it was an honor to be here today.
Over and out.